Hello, everyone. Welcome to Allianz Joy today. I am very happy to be here. Hope you are watching on Apple, Amazon, Roku television, or maybe you're watching the replay. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to talk a little bit about time management today, how to take back your day, how to take back your time. And we're just going to dive straight into it. Let me see if I have all my buttons here in the right place. Yes, I do. Let's talk a little bit about what I do. I am an executive coach. I help people with resilience, with wellness and transformational coaching. I have decades of experience in fitness and in leadership and trauma-informed care. And I help professionals, I help entrepreneurs, I help leaders, I help execs to break through or address their limitations and think and rethink assumptions and step into their most powerful life, right? I usually say I help you from being stuck to becoming unstoppable. I'm also a speaker and a best-selling author, and I hope you will look me up at ellionhaan.net. Today, let's dive a little bit into some management tips for time and for goal setting and planning. So we're going to talk about some challenges of time management today. We're going to start there. And there are some challenges. A lot of people are telling me all the time, I'm just not having enough time in the day, right? Well, if that is you, let's talk about these challenges and where are they coming from that you feel like that. Well, we want to manage our time effectively. How can you start addressing some of these challenges in a realistic way? The first one that I always like to bring up is procrastination. Procrastination. We are always looking to do things next Monday. And I know that it's kind of tricky, right? Everybody does it. We're just going to postpone things till next Monday. And that's for a lot of things that we are just doing that next week. But we have to address it a little bit and start just today with small time-bound tasks that you can do to kind of get things out of the way. So you can do, for instance, and use the Pomodoro technique, which means that you work for 25 minutes and rest for 5, and you get in small little time blocks, you get things out of the way. So that the big things that you not really want to do, so that you can get those out of the way as well. Just start early in the morning. If you have your me time set and your self-care in the morning, and you're ready to start with the day, start with making a little planning. Planning is really important. So it's been proven, it's a fact that most people do not plan ahead for their future, do not plan their time, and do not set any calendars or schedules like that, right? And that's where a lot of the procrastination comes from, because we just become overwhelmed with the things that we have to do. We don't really have written them down. We don't really have checked them off and put a priority on it. So that brings me to number 2, a lack of prioritization, right? So we don't really know what is important right now, what is due immediately. Sometimes we just, again, get overwhelmed by all these things coming at us. If we are in a corporate setting, then we have due dates, things need to get done, and things need to be planned. And sometimes we can't do that effectively. And so for that, you can, for instance, use the Eisenhower Matrix that gives you a little bit of a sense of urgent over important. So we can look at the things that we need to get out of the way and the things that are also important, the things that are less important, right? So in columns, we can kind of write down and use these matrix to see and to look at what we need to get done. And for me, I always tell my clients, start with that early in the morning, do a little planning for your day, make it realistic. We want to always look at goal setting and planning for the day as being SMART goals, in a sense of they want to be specific, they have to be measurable, achievable. You want them to be relevant, right, and time bound. And we use the acronym SMART for that. So in that sense, specific, for instance, let's go to our health and well-being. Let's say that we want to lose 5 pounds by the end of 2 months. That is very realistic, right? That is measurable. That is actually achievable. But if I would have told you that I want to lose 25 pounds in 2 months, that would not be very realistic, right? So we have to kind of play it step by step, break it down a little bit, and do that according to the acronym SMART. so that we can actually see, is it relevant right now? Is it something that I need to do right now? Can I really see that in a couple of weeks happening? And is that something that I can measure? So again, we can prioritize things. Again, also through some tools, we can make the things that are really urgent, the things for the morning, get them out of the way. I always told everybody that worked with me and also in my household, if you don't like to do it, do that first. So get the things out of the way that are kind of pressing, that you're maybe really, just not really excited about doing, right? It's called eat the frog sometimes. We want to eat the frog first thing in the morning, and get after it. So that is the second thing. The first thing, we are procrastinating. The second thing is lack of prioritization, prioritization. I can't talk today. And in that sense, we have some tools for that. And just use the Eisenhower Matrix to get things done and determine where to focus. The third thing that we do, and it all mixes in together, is we are overcommitting. We make overcommitments. We have to say no sometimes and set boundaries. And that again sets some more realistic expectations to what we can get done and what we can't really accomplish. But saying yes to everything just piles up and stacks up on your desk. And after a while, you just get overwhelmed. You can't see it anymore. You don't know what's on the bottom, what's on the top, and what is really due now. And so that way, we just become overcommitted. We have to set a little boundaries there sometimes and say no. And that way we can set some more realistic expectations towards others, but also take in some more realistic expectations. Sometimes we just don't have the bandwidth to do it all. And we need to know ourselves well enough to say, I just can't take that on right now, right? It's okay to set boundaries. Another thing, number 4, that gets us really into a challenge with time is distractions. Everybody knows social media, emails, just scrolling for times in a row. And then sometimes it gets a little bit out of hand. Sometimes that online thing takes away our focus. And a good idea, how do we solve that? A good idea to solve that is just to set some website blockers, just to make sure that you can go to certain social media sites during the day, or just take them off your computer, put them on your phone, then put the phone away for later, so that we don't have these distractions all open on our screen, right? It could be that your screen is open with a pretty full work agenda, but then on the bottom, you also have some shopping open, some Amazon, and some social media. So we want to take that away and set really your focus towards the things that need to get done. I know it's not fun and it's difficult, but these things sometimes help to get you away from that and to keep you refocused, right? To get your focus back on the things that need to get done. And another thing that we all do, and sometimes we just don't know it is ineffective, is exactly that, ineffective planning. You know, plan your day the night before, or sometimes early in the morning, to use that, to eliminate that stress and that overwhelm and that fatigue that comes at you overwhelmed feeling, right? That comes at you in the morning. So sometimes if we even do it the day before, the beginning of the week, I'm a planner, so I like to have that whole schedule full by the beginning of the week and know exactly what I'm up to. Now, I also have a plan B in case something falls out or a client might not be able to come or something goes awry, right? We have to be open to that sort of changes and challenges. But for that, I have a plan B. And then again, I look at it in the morning and I look at, I need to get that out of the way. I don't really feel like it, but I've got to do it. So let's eat that frog and let's just get it out of the way. And all of these things are building habits. So anything you start doing in the morning, getting up a little bit earlier so that you can take that me time for yourself. You can start the day with maybe a meditation or maybe a good walk or some exercise, or some stretches, listening to some music or reading your Bible, anything that makes you feel a little bit calmer in the morning, get your day started, then look at your planning, look at your planner, look at your planning for the day, and just get after it. The sooner we get it out of the way, the better. And then something really important that we always have to do is don't forget to scratch these things off in your notebook. right? I like to keep a notebook planner so that I can stretch them off or highlight them and put a big old scratch through it. I did it. It's out of the way and I can celebrate. So don't forget to celebrate those little wins every day. It's really important because that helps you get some things moving forwards. Now, what are some really easy techniques, some beginner-friendly techniques even, to do some more time management, right? To make that a little bit better, to make that managing time a little bit better. Some small changes that lead to big, big time savings. In the first place, absolutely, time blocking. So if you are time blocking, that means that you assign some time slots for certain tasks. For instance, like I said, in the morning is self-care, and after exercise, right, at 9, or maybe it's 8 for you, or maybe it's 10 o'clock for you, I start on those emails and phone calls, and I have a little structure there that I bundle the emails and the phone calls and the replies and the messages that I need to reply to in a little bundle. It makes it easier. So I block those times. And it's making it a little bit more, it gives me a little bit more oversight, right? And another thing that you can do is ask or use the 2-minute rule. So if a task that you have to do is just a little under the 10 minutes or under 2 minutes that you can quickly get it out of the way, just do it immediately. Right? Do all those little things that you can do that take less time than 2 minutes, get them out of the way and scratch them off so that it doesn't look like things are stacking up and building up, but you're actually working it right out of the way. Maybe 10 things on your planner that day are immediately done because they don't take a lot of time. And then another thing that you can really use is batching, again, similar tasks. So for instance, you're going to do the emails and the calls together. It is just, again, just reducing context to context switching, going from one thing to another and really being all over the place, right? So batching similar tasks or time block them. So in the morning, I'm going to do emails. In the afternoon, I'm going to just look at social media and maybe go do my videos after that, right? So in that case, I block my times. I do time blocking for certain things. I can use the 2-minute rule, the second one that we talked about, to get all the small stuff out of the way immediately. And I can also batch certain tasks. So if I need to do, for instance, my emails and the calls and get that out of the way, like again, afterwards, I have a batch of maybe filming some videos for social media. And then at that time, also post them all at the same time. And then maybe after that, some time for study and reflection. So you're just making little batches. So these things are somewhat overlapping, but all these techniques are definitely helping with time management. And that's what we're looking at. Right? Just 10 minutes of planning in the morning saves you hours of wasted time during the day. Absolutely. And again, we want to try to limit distractions as much as possible so we can put that focus just right there. And I know it is not always something that we really want to do, but it helps a lot to plan and get it out of the way so that afterwards we save that time. And then we have time for self, time for grocery shopping, time for family, time for kids, the things that are really helping us do so. How can we identify really big time wasters? What practical steps can we take to minimize these distractions and habits? Let's talk about some of those, right? And let's talk about what you can do. One of the things that you can do is self-audit. So if you have an app or you keep a journal, you can spot wasted time. And you can all of a sudden, of course, look at it and say, oh my, right? I have to audit myself today because I've been wasting a lot of time every Monday, every Tuesday, maybe on this. What are these time wasters? It can be social media. It can be doing a lot of multitasking at the same time. It can be even unnecessarily meetings around the water cooler, right? We don't need that necessarily. It's fun, it's great, it's wonderful to catch up. But if you push for shorter agenda-driven meetings and you decline the ones that you don't need to be at, then you save time for the other things that you would like to get out of the way. And also you want to focus on one thing at a time and not constantly doing 2 or 3 things and being a multitasker. It's great if you're a multitasker, but ultimately it might just bite you in the buttons instead of being efficient for your time. And then of course, social media, again, let's try to put that on the no disturbing modus. There are some really effective time management tools and systems that we can use. And I want to just definitely mention some of those. We can use, of course, a written planner and calendar and schedule everything. Now, for me, for instance, that means that I also have to do that in my Google Calendar. And so I have to match those two. My Google Calendar, of course, also will have in there all the Zoom calls that are scheduled, all the meetings that are scheduled through Zoom or with people through my agenda or through my Calendly. And so in that case, that goes all to my Zoom as well. So I have to match that with my real schedule, with my real planner. There's also other tools and apps and tons of platforms to help you manage time. One of the things, of course, that we haven't even addressed is AI, right? So once I started using ChatGPT a few years ago, it saved me so much time just in content and social media content and anything that I want to teach and get out there. I really could find help and get a lot of answers right away, even get a lot of scripts right away, or a lot of content that I needed for courses or webinars. So that has been a huge time saver. It's like your personal assistant, so don't be afraid of it and go play with it. Absolutely. And like I said, there's other tools. We can have these platforms online where if I make a video, it goes straight to all my social media platforms, right? I can be on a video platform, a video app that gives me the opportunity to go right away into Instagram, Facebook, TikTok maybe, LinkedIn, right? So everything is distributed at the same time and I only have to do it once. That helps tremendously. Trello and Asana are really great apps that I use for organizing tasks visually. And it really helps to kind of highlight in there and see what you have been able to scratch off as well. There is Evernote for notes or Notion for notes. There is analog systems. You can do bullet journaling, of course, that keeps track of your priorities. And again, I have a daily planner and I love to always use my daily planner and take it anywhere in case something comes up. How they help again? They take your time back and they give you time back. Definitely. And it helps you break tasks into manageable steps. Absolutely. And small steps are important again with all that goal setting and planning. I help my clients with goal setting and planning, definitely because it also takes so much anxiety away. And just in general, anybody who suffers from general anxiety, from stress, feeling that burnout, if you start to plan, it helps a lot because you take that time back again, you feel more organized. It helps with creating habits. Creating habits and routine helps you become more disciplined. And absolutely, that will serve you in the long end. Absolutely. And don't forget to celebrate those wins, right? So just to recap real quick, to stay productive, just get the distractions out of the way, save it for later in the day. Make sure you use all the tools on your computer or look into systems, methods, and tools and platforms that can help you manage your day more effectively. Of course, communicate with others and see what they have, right? And leave some gaps. Just do some time buffering. Leave some gaps in your planner for unexpected events and happenings so that you can definitely make time for that. Sometimes we just have to look at it, try it out for a month. Do this for a month. Maybe you want to use this planner, you want to use this system, you want to use this app for all this. And if it's not working, maybe after a month we try something else. But don't forget, if you feel that you're all over the place, just start planning a little bit and use some of these tips that I gave you today. Reach out to me if you want more. Absolutely, alionhaan.net. just find me on my website, and there are all my little tools to get to my social media sites. DM me, message me, send me an email, or schedule a meeting. Schedule a complimentary meeting in my calendar so that we can get started on planning and goal setting and become more effective with your time. I hope this helps you a little bit. It was great to see you. Thank you so much for being here at Allianz Joy, this episode. Always bringing some joy and happiness, right? Get that time back. I hope to see you next week. Thank you for today.